In, we're playing a great San Diego State club, and they're a very good club. They can beat anybody. I thought they defended well, and especially the meat of their order just frightens you because they really swing at take big aggressive swings at the baseball, and they've had great success. But I thought outside of the early 2-run inning that we gave, we were really sloppy a little bit in that second inning. And I think from that moment forward, we got a lot better. Thought Trevor did a great job after that inning. Composure, maturity, all the things that he's gotten through all of his postseason appearances and, through 3 years of college baseball. And then we handed it to Myles. We felt like Myles was going to be a great matchup for this club before we even played. We knew he was going to be our go-to guy. They're so right-hand dominant, and the way he's been spinning the baseball, creating movement, we felt like he was the right guy. So we defended well. We got some timely hits. And I thought we executed pretty well outside of that second inning. So proud of our kids. You got to get off our feet. Even for us who live in the deep south, this is hot, humid, and we've got to get our kids hydrated and ready to, to play in a great atmosphere tomorrow.
Questions for the student athletes?
Trevor, what was that? I think John came out in the second inning, I think it was. What was that discussion like on the mound?
Yeah, he was just telling me to get back in the zone. I was kind of all around it. I was getting deep into some at-bats and pitches and everything. My pitch count was getting up, and they were seeing a lot of pitches. So he's basically coming out there and just telling me to pound the zone. And obviously you saw after I got out of that inning, I started really pounding the zone and it started working out. And when I was talking to Myles, when they told me I was coming out of the game, I told him that whenever he got down in the zone for sure, like they were going to hit a lot of ground balls, because when I start getting ground balls, that's when like someone like Myles with a lot of sink is going to get a ton, because I'm more of a one-to-one guy, get one pop-up for every one ground ball. So.
For both Trevor and Myles, just talk about the early contact that you guys were able to get. They said they got sped up in their ABs and really got out of sync with what they wanted to do, and it seemed like you pitched the contact ball very, very well.
Well, when we went through the scouting report, their strikeouts and walks weren't very high, so Coach Cohen pointed out to us that they're a very free-swinging team. They like to swing early, and I mean, it worked for them all season, and we just happened to defend it really well, in my opinion.
Our defense was unreal today. Early contact, you got to trust them, and kept getting them, and they made plays.
Myles, I want to talk to Coach and Coach Thompson Wednesday. They said the plan, they would really like to have gone with you the whole game, but they decided to let you come in after Trevor, let him set it up, and you finish it out. Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Jake, obviously the triple was big, but that inning just when it started, and there's that error in second. What's the reaction in the dugout when you see something like that, and inning could have been over, and all of a sudden you got another chance?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Creating the big inning. I think Dett's got a 2-outs hit. Something else happens there. Britton strokes the ball up the middle, then CT gets on, and you start getting it rolling. Just want the opportunity to get it done there and just help the team.
Trevor, when it's early in a game like that and it's 2-0 early and you see the kind of coach come out and talk to you, what are the emotions that you see when things aren't going your way?
I try not to let my emotions affect me at all, but I mean, it's frustrating to say the least. One of the keys for me being a starter, I try to make sure we score first, because our record is unbelievable when we score first. And part of the thing that helped with today was, we had a lot of fans show up, and that's huge, because when you got people yelling, not always the most positive, but when they're yelling, like, keep going, keep battling, stuff like that, it really helps, and our dugout does a great job with that as well.
And Jake, you hit the first pitch after that mound visit for them. Just talk about what's going through your mind in that AB, because clearly they're running a scouting report out on you, and you might have to change some things.
Coach pulled me off to the side. He just told me be ready to hit that first pitch there. Coming off 4 straight balls, the guy's probably going to try to get back in the zone there, so he just told me to be ready. And I was just looking for a pitch up in the zone to drive.
Myles, when they handed you the ball, were you expecting to go ahead and close that out?
They told me don't let anybody else pitch.
Trevor, what's that emotional swing like for you after you give up 2 runs, you throw a lot of pitches in the top half, and then your guys come out, get a big 2-out hit, and all of a sudden take a lead? What does that do for you sitting there on the bench?
Yeah, it's very relieving. I was standing right next to Coach Thompson. I just started hitting him in the arm as soon as that ball left Jake's bat. It's kind of crazy because I feel like, I did give up 2 runs, but it could have been a lot worse. And I feel like every time we get a shutdown, usually Lingo comes in after me and gets that. It's unbelievable. I feel like we've scored so many runs after we leave guys on base in a big situation like that.
Jake, did you have an idea that it was going to fall, or because for a while the way the outfield was running, it looked like it might even clear the fence?
I knew I got good contact on it. I knew it was for sure going to get over his head. Obviously I don't hit the ball out of the park ever, so I wasn't too worried about that. Just wanted to put my head down and run and just help these guys out as much as I can.
Jake, what's been different about you since Alabama? I think you're hitting 7 for 18, including today. What are you seeing the ball better? What's kind of been different that you've been hitting a little bit better more recently?
I was still working on things, just trying not to lift the ball still. If I'm popping up, I'm getting out. So just trying to stay in the middle of the field really, and just do my part to help the team win. Just try to get on base any way I can. I was lucky to have some success in Alabama, and I'm just trying to carry that momentum to help the team make a run.
Questions for Coach?
John, Myles kind of verbalized it, but how big is this to get a victory and not have to use Lindgren and Holder?
Yeah, I think it's big, but, we're probably not going to have Myles for tomorrow, which hurts a little bit as well. Because I think there's a ton of right-handed hitting in this tournament. Having those guys available tomorrow is big for our ball club. But I think, we watched a lot of film of Lafayette, not as much on Jackson State. But I think we really want to watch that ball game and to the drive. We've heard so many things about Lafayette's offense, and their numbers are just crazy numbers. But just getting the opportunity to watch them play, I think really helps us kind of set that up as well. And you're right, not having used those two bullpen guys is big.
Coach, if I'm not mistaken, all 5 runs were scored with 2 outs. Timely hits is what you wanted, obviously. What does that say about your team they were able to deliver?
It says a lot. It speaks to the maturity of our kids. And, when we got on that run in the postseason last year getting to Omaha, it happened a lot. We had a ton of 2-out production. So I think good clubs do that. And, Detsy, I thought that was a huge, obviously Jake's triple there drove in 3 was huge, but Detz's 2-out ball he hit in the 4-hole there was a big swing, left on left, drove in the extra run there, so that was big as well. But I felt like we put really good swings on balls and didn't get hits, so you can't discount that as well. But we need to bottle it. We need to keep having that approach and keep playing good defense and keep getting to the bottom of that strike zone. That's our recipe. And again, I've always said to these guys, and I mean it, it's not about your opponent. It's about playing the game at a high level and trying to beat the game. And I feel like today, especially so proud of what Trevor did. He beat the game. He gave up that 2-spot, but he minimized right there. It's so easy. You get a punch out there, it gets by the catcher. So instead of having a runner on second base with 1 out, now all of a sudden you got a runner on first and third. He just struck the guy out. It takes incredible maturity to get beyond that. I know I struggle getting beyond that. But he did a great job with that. And the ability to minimize right there, I thought was really the difference in the ball game.
You mentioned Detz. When they made the pitching change, he was coming up. If you stayed with him in that matchup, where in the past you might have put another hitter up there. Just feeling about how Alex was going.
Yeah, the scouting report said he was a breaking ball guy, and I just kept watching him throw his pitches, and there's breaking balls up in the zone. And Alex really does a nice job left on breaking balls, especially up in the zone. And really his statistics against left-handers are pretty darn good. And I think he had a feel for what was going on in the ball game, and I just felt like he's going to put a good swing on the baseball.
Coach, San Diego State's guys said that they felt a change in that second inning when things happened. Do you feel that in MSU's dugout, that there's a swing? Yeah,
there's an energy. You got really, you got 2 teams really fighting. It's earlier in the day. It's, pretty warm outside. You're really having to focus in, and you just kind of felt in our dugout there's some momentum. Hey, we got the big hit, and maybe some things are going to go our way, and that's how it kind of goes in our sport. Just something falling your way. Or the big hit that clears the bases. All those things are just, really important to the psyche of your club.
If you look back to the South Carolina game when Trevor was on the mound, there were a couple guys on, and you went with Lingo. How come what was different about today that you allowed Trevor to maybe get out of the jam?
You know what I'm talking about, why we brought Myles in? And
oh, no, why? Because you kept with Trevor in the second and third instead of, going to Myles immediately there.
Yeah, we felt like he didn't have a ton of big misses. It was a little up in the zone. We wanted to be a little bit more down the zone. But that every one of our pitchers has a tail sign a tell sign. And it's with his, it's the big man. If he misses big a couple of times, that's where we're probably going to do something different. But he didn't have big misses. And when Trevor's not having big misses, we're going to stay with him as much as we can because he's going to get right back in the strike zone.
Coach, the fact that Myles needed just 34 pitches for the 12 outs, is he always that efficient? What was the key to that efficiency?
Well, I think it's two-part. I think it's a great matchup for that club, and his last 3 or 4 outings, he has just really spun the baseball. Has created great spin with his breaking ball and his fastball. His two-seamer has so much late depth to it. The velocity is not the most important thing with him. It's how hitters are engaging the pitch, and his spin has just been tremendous. It just, you watch it and you go, well, this guy's got a pitch, because he's just spinning it, locating it, and getting guys to not get barreled in the baseball.
Coach, you alluded to the potential atmosphere tomorrow night. If you do get the host, what are you anticipating, and do you want your kids to watch this game tonight to see what it's like?
Well, just because you're playing the day game, you lose a lot of fluid. I'd really like our kids to get their feet up, watch it on TV or on ESPN3 or whatever it's going to be on, in that way. And we're probably going to recommend that highly. But yeah, I think they're a great offensive club, and I think having our kids watch the way they go about their offense and create offense in many different ways. I have so much respect for not only Tony but Matt Deggs. You can tell his signature is all over this offense. So, and you know what? It's baseball. And that means Jackson State can do it also, because I've seen them do it also. So it's going to be a great baseball game tonight. And, no matter what the matchup is tomorrow, we'll be excited and we'll be ready for it.
John, you said Matthew Britton would break out eventually as a hitter. He gets a big hit today, and he did well in the Alabama series and in Hoover. What are you seeing with him? That's kind of changed with his ability to hit.
He's just engaging the pitch. That's what the thing we talk about with Matthew the most, is he's just engaging every pitch, meaning that his idea has to be, I'm going to swing at every single pitch until it's a ball. It's a strike until it's a ball. When he's got that mentality, I think he's a pretty darn good hitter. Just being quick and just saying, I'm going to swing at every single pitch that's thrown until it's a ball. I think early on in the year, I think he was saying, I'm going to wait and see if this pitch is a strike. And then, it was kind of a late reaction thing. So I think his entire identity is much more aggressive offensively, and I think he's had great success with that.
Prior to the series in Alabama, I think Jake had 3 hits in the 13 games, and now he's at 7 in the last 8. What did you see in him that you wanted to stick with him and knew he would break out of it?
Well, he's just working on a stroke all the time, and he's trying to take the ball out of the air. He's done a great job with that. So, we played 6 outfielders, actually 5 outfielders pretty consistently, and all those guys are pushing each other and they're working at it all the time. And I felt like he'd be a really good matchup against this club. I think he does a great job with guys who have a lot of arm side sink and work on the other side of the plate. And this young man, is it Saylor? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
As good as mine.
Yeah. He's got a really good arm side run, and I think that's one of Jake's real strengths. He can handle those kind of guys. He's going to take good swings against those kind of guys.
Thank you, Coach.